Star Wars, and then we're gonna speak about Microsoft, Xbox, Redfall, and the fact that they gave an incompetent imbecile, because that's the correct way to say it. Since
Right.
person is just too freaking bad. At
Wait,
their
who's
job.
the incompetent imbecile?
The guy playing freaking Redfall demo from.
Oh my gosh, that video, sir. For the guy was not good, but it wasn't just that he was terrible or not good. It was like he just wasn't showing what the game is fully capable of, and the gameplay and the lack of skills shown is what made it look worse. That was the issue. That was the problem. But yeah, there was a guy on Twitter that showed what the game was fully capable of. Was great at getting kills, getting headshots, showing all the different mechanics and how to play it. And that was way better than what IGN was doing. And IGN, even though I like IGN, they do make themselves look bad many, many times because they could get away with it.
That is indeed. And you can't spell ignorant without IGN.
I know.
Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. That is an old running gag.
That's the first three letters.
The first three letters of any moron, IGN.
Oh, boy.
I don't even know how to spell a phone to this day.
Well, Microsoft, the deal's going through with Activision Blizzard, and that's great. That's great because Sony had no argument, and they were making themselves look petty. And, I appreciated them willing to show their ass and to make themselves look bad, but at the same time, it's like everybody is turning against you and everybody's agreeing to a deal that you're saying no to, so you're not going to get the awesome deal that Microsoft was willing to give you. Nintendo got the best deal on the block, and they're finally getting Call of Duty games on Nintendo Switch for the next 10 years. So
the idea that you cannot get a game like Call of Duty and you cannot alter its performance or how it functions on hardware such as that of Nintendo Switch is wrong, technically, because it's flawed. Anything with code can be, altered.
Yeah.
As we know from computers, when you press power on, shut down. Yeah. That's code. The point is, though, Sony in itself really, under Jim Ryan's leadership, put themselves in this position. They knew they were in this position and something could happen.
And became very greedy.
And
very greedy company.
Super greedy.
Yeah.
Super anti-consumer. Because if you want to get a refund, you need to have less than 2 hours of the day you played it. That's literally it.
And also, they actually screw with people, too. The reason why Gran Turismo 7 got such great reviews because they hide the multiplayer part and all the greedy microtransactions that they were putting into the game. So when the game came out, it was like the multiplayer stuff was just chaos. And so people were giving it bad reviews, got a bad response, and then all the game journalists and the game critics were like, look, we are so sorry. They did not show that to us. They basically lied to us.
At this point, if you are a games journalist, fire up your resume and get into another freaking industry. You're in a terrible place. You're about to go.
Well,
you're getting unemployed. You're getting laid off.
But in their defense, they had no idea that Sony was going to be doing something like that. They had no idea.
No, if anyone has blame,
it's Sony.
It would be the ESRB.
It would be Sony. Yeah.
It would be the ESRB most of all.
Yeah, ESRB, but Sony.
If the ESRB were to see not just the trailer and rate it on the trailer. That's how games are rated, apparently.
No, but I mean, I'm talking about the reviews, because that's the thing. The high critic score was really high. Because the critics were reviewing just the base game, and the base game itself was good.
Oh, that's the same thing. It's the same thing with sports games. NBA, FIFA, NHL.
Right, but when you got to the multiplayer part,
Madden?
Yeah, but
NFL.
Yeah, but this is where the manipulation came in, because they were never given the multiplayer part. Ever. And when the multiplayer part came out with the game's release, that the critics never got, or deliberately never shown, it got tons of backlash, and it was easily the worst aspect of the game.
You know what's even more appalling is that critics come out after they gave it such high praise. We are so sorry, but we're not going to remove our review. Well, I am appalled. If you want to say sorry to me, you take your review down.
Well, that's also. Well, I think it's also because they were lied to and they were
not competent in their field for two reasons. Oh, it does not hold your hand like Horizon Zero, Horizon Forbidden West, or
which is a good game,
or whatever. Respectively, they are their own title, they're their own series. Horizon.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the first game more. Second one, my sister owns it. I played it a little bit, and I was appalled by the fact that the game's telling me, do the story. I'm thinking, no, I need to explore this shit.
I think the reason why I was loving playing the second game, I couldn't finish it because I got stuck on Elden Ring. I just got so addicted to that game for like 5 months.
Listen, in Nerd Talk, it goes like this. I played Elden Ring for the first time and said, Walk Horizon.
Yeah.
Elden Ring for life.
Yeah, but Horizon Forbidden West, what I loved about it was I do love the voice actor. She's a great actress, and her voice was very soothing, and it relaxes you. So, yeah, it's annoying that she's telling me what to do every 3 to 5 minutes. But at the same time, it's like, cool. It's like I'm having a conversation with a friend that I haven't seen in like 5 years. You know, and it was cool to catch up.
I've had conversations with friends I have not seen in over 10 years.
No, I mean,
they don't tell me, you need to speak to me in 3 to 5 minutes.
But the first 7 hours of the game felt like a good catch up. Like I was catching up with a friend that I hadn't seen in 5 years. That was all cool, but I'm pretty sure 50 hours it would get annoying. But I will get back into it and play it. But I played God of War. And it's a really good game, the 2018 version. The 2018 sequel. It's really good, but my problem with that game is that it holds your hand too much. No matter what difficulty you're on, when you're trying to do a puzzle, they basically tell you the clues to the puzzle. And I feel like I'm being insulted. And I just had to go back to Elden Ring. I had to go back to Dark Souls. I'm like, I need a game to fucking kick my ass for 12 hours. Because God of War was
I need a reason to rage quit and curse the game out.
God of War holds your hand too much. Just too much. But go ahead. What are you saying about Western games?
The thing with Western games is that it's all formula.
The same formula.
The same formula, same generic open world. Let me hold your hand, tell you go here, tell you go there.
And map markers, too.
Give you a marker and tell you have to go here to find what you need to look for.
And side quests are just empty.
The same. I lost my horse.
Same fetch quest.
I lost my horse.
Let me get my horse. Go and get my horse.
Can you find my shield? I dropped it while running away from a goblin.
This is why I consider The Witcher 3 to be the greatest open world game of all time. Even though Elden Ring is a masterpiece, I give it a 10 out of 10. The Witcher 3, I put it number 1. And I do consider it to possibly be the greatest video game of all time because, and I love Death Stranding, Final Fantasy X, but I still got to put together the list. But The Witcher 3 was so great because all the side quests were so emotionally impacting and had so many twists and turns and layers. Like, I'll give you an example. A typical fetch quest will make you cry. Like, I did a fetch quest for a mountain troll. There was this troll that...
I found his bogey.
Right, no. There was this mountain troll that I bumped into, and he needed my help. He asked me to go fetch something, some metal thing or a fork or something for him. Or it was a pot. And I went out and I got the pot, and I brought something metal. I went out and I got it back to the troll, and he said, "Thank you so much. This is the last piece of memory that I have of my wife that died recently." And I was like, "Oh my god, what? This is supposed to be a fetch quest." And I'm like, hit me in my heart.
Like, damn.
And there were so many side quests like that.
I just killed 3 goblins for a pot, brought it to you, just learned your wife died.
Oh my god, it was so sad.
No, but you know what? That's the thing with CDPR.
So sad.
CDPR has a formula.
They have great writing.
They have great writing.
With buggy ass games. The bugs and glitches.
Listen. And the benefit of the doubt, CDPR may release a game. It'll have a shitload of bugs. 007 you would never compare to it. And I'm talking about early adaptations of 007. I'm not talking about N64 or NES or anything like that. Maybe GameCube, PlayStation.
Like Cyberpunk 2077 didn't reach the hype that they created, but even with all the bugs and glitches, the main story was still powerful, still emotional. Almost every ending could hit you in a different way. And it had some of the greatest side quests of all time, like Sinnerman. Sinnerman was a side quest where you bump into a criminal that was like a serial killer or something like that. And then he goes to prison and he reads the Bible and he finds God. And he starts falling in love with the Bible and Christianity and Jesus. And he decides to crucify himself, to get crucified. To repent for the sins of what he did and to pay the ultimate price for all the terrible things he did in his life.
Okay.
And you're the one who has to crucify him. It was one of the greatest side quests I had ever experienced. And if it wasn't for the bugs and glitches, it would have gotten more love than it did, but it's getting more love now since it's fixed. The game is mostly fixed, I guess.
Mostly fixed. There's a couple of things, and hopefully they'll patch a few other issues that are present with
the PS5 version's awesome.
What is it? Liberty?
No, Phantom Liberty. There's supposed to be a trailer and more info on that in June. And E3 is canceled, so everybody's doing their own thing.
Rest in peace, E3.
Rest in peace.
We knew you would never last.
I know.
But you lasted much longer than G4 TV.
Yeah, I remember everybody shitted on Nintendo, and I wasn't even playing hard. I mean, I was playing Xbox Live mostly. I wasn't playing a lot of games 10 years ago, but when Nintendo first left E3, everybody thought they were crazy to do it, but it turns out everybody did it after COVID. Because of COVID, everybody realized they could do their own thing and not pay millions of dollars.
Oh, listen, if I go to a studio and show off a bunch of trailers, I'll make money. Yeah, Nintendo started the trend after the PC game shows. Right?
Even Xbox starting this year started doing directs and showcases and everything. And
Microsoft
I had no
is
idea
getting a lot of support and love from their showcases. The problem is, and I truly believe and implore Phil Spencer, fix the crap that's going on. Like,
he's got to get his house in order.
Like, because they talk about because you want to buy you want to buy new furniture.
They talk the big.
But your room's a mess.
They talk the big talk, but their studios and almost all their games are in production hell. 2023 seems like it's going to be a big year, but Halo Infinite was supposed to be a big release, and look at the disaster of that. I guess it's a perfect segue to Halo, but go. We're going to talk about Microsoft and Halo.
Let's turn it to Paul Blart of Volcom on the segue.
It's just, and look, Phil Spencer backed it up this year. I made the mistake of buying Wulong Fallen Dynasty. I had no idea it was on Game Pass, and he said it was going to be on Game Pass.
I said,
it's on Game Pass.
I did not listen.
I bought the game. It's my fault. I should have double checked. I actually should have turned on my Xbox.
But on the bright side, here's the thing. Just because it's on Game Pass does not necessarily mean you need to not buy the game. Buying the game helps the studio to add more content. I'm going to say quality. I don't know why. Quality content. To the existing game, and to also bank some additional funds to produce another major hit.
Yeah, and I think also the problem, like Starfield. Someone told me, well, you gotta buy Starfield because it's a single player game, and you gotta support single player games. I'm like, okay, fine, I hear you, but I don't trust Bethesda. And,
wait. Who told you this? Was it?
It was a guy that worked at GameStop. There's a guy working GameStop. No, but here's the funny thing. And you got it. I agree. Single player games need to be get as much love as multiplayer online services. But my problem is that Bethesda screwed up multiple times. Fallout 4 was a disappointment. The microtransactions that came out after Fallout 4 were crazy. And Fallout 76 was a disastrous launch. And so I don't trust them. I'm going to download the game on Game Pass. I'm going to play it. If the game is great, if it reaches some type of hype, I'll buy the game for $70.
Listen, I believe that if the game is appealing, there are no issues that I'm able to see or that I'm hearing of. I will, if I have the money and I've saved enough, I'll put the money to the title that I want to get. So if Starfield is this game that works, not the classic Todd Howard, it just works.
It just works.
No, it works, and I mean it works. Like, it functions. You turn it on, you play through it, you close the game, it functions, no problems. Maybe a frame rate drop here and there.
Yeah,
I don't mind that. And I'm not big on frame rate. I really don't care about frame rate.
Right.
Graphics neither. I need a story. If the story is good, I'll play the damn game.
Graphics are great, but most people don't care about graphics. If they did, games with not great graphics wouldn't be dominating the market for so long. Like throughout 2020, Among Us was the most played game on the internet. It had 500 million players and users all across the world throughout the whole summer of 2020. The game had been out for 2 years, and it won Multiplayer of the Year, the Game Awards, and it had been out for 2 years. So.
Listen, the thing with Among Us is it's not even a major freaking title. It goes to show what any developer can do to win awards from their own product, their own hard work, the vision that they put in. Because a lot of developers only follow what the big man says. The big man says, I want microtransactions.
I think, look, video games have always had bugs and glitches, especially open world games. Open world games always had game-breaking bugs back in the 90s. Some of them in the 90s and the 2000s.
I will say, ever since...
MMORPGs always had fucking bugs.
MMORPGs. God love...
Yeah, World of Warcraft was amazing, and it had bugs and glitches.
World of Warcraft was amazing.
But here's the thing. I think the reason why people feel that AAA gaming is worse than it was 20 years ago is because 20 years ago you had video games that had so much content with the bugs and glitches, but you had so much content, sometimes more. Like I remember when Halo 2 first came out, you had so many maps, and the online multiplayer was broken. And Bungie fixed it before everybody noticed it. But I could see it when I first played it. I mean, you could see everybody's stats. You could see everybody's levels. And it was broken when it first came out. But they fixed it within 2 weeks. And here's the thing. they announced. It's fine. 20 seconds. They announced 10 new maps. 10 new maps. 10 or 12 new maps for $20 the following year, and it was like a big download. And today, those same games cost more money to make, and yet they have less content because they're trying to do it as a live service. That's what happened with Halo Infinite. They used a 20-year-old game engine trying to do a live service for Halo Infinite, and it turned out to be the most disappointing launch of all the games.
Here's the biggest problem with Halo Infinite. I don't know who had lead in development at that time. I know they left at some point. The problem was, whoever was on the team at 343i, because that's their name, 343 Incompetence, what I call them. But the thing is,
Terrible game studio.
whoever was working on the game, aside from the contractors, they did not like Halo as the game itself. They wanted it to be like Call of Duty. Now, don't get me wrong, Halo Infinite has really good mechanics, great gameplay, great.
When you're playing it, it's fun.
When you're playing, it's fine.
The single player is also good.
The single player is
the
only
whole
part
story is
that's
actually pretty good. It's certainly better than Halo 5. I mean, Halo 5 had good multiplayer, but the campaign was horrible.
Mind you, the trailer for Halo 5 was Master Chief standing in front of a Forerunner. I don't even know what the hell it's called. Chimera, probably. The cloak goes off his helmet, and he's holding the whole USB necklace dog tag thing with Cortana that was once in it.
Yeah.
Mind you, that was the trailer. The game comes out. You play Master Chief for 1 or 2 levels, and the rest of the game you're playing as some unknown wannabe.
I think the problem is that Microsoft and 343, they should have realized 12 years ago that Halo did not need to be other franchises to compete. It was already ahead of the pack. I mean, in 2007 COD lobbies, I think most people in those COD lobbies would agree that Halo 3 was just an incredible game.
Halo 3,
many people would rank it as the best first-person shooter of all time. And those are Call of Duty fans saying it. Today, I mean, and Call of Duty fans have a lot of complaints too. Warzone 2 was a massive disappointment. And the download was ridiculous. You couldn't even play the fucking game. It was nuts.
Mind you, Modern Warfare 2, I know we're off track from Star Wars, but the thing is with Modern Warfare 2, the gameplay's single-player aspect is phenomenal.
It's good.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. Multiplayer-wise, why'd you buy the freaking game? It's the same shit as...
I know. I wasted $70. I should have never done that. It was stupid.
It's not just you. It's
I
it's
should have just
myself,
waited for this deal to go through.
It's viewers. It's gamers.
And
in general, it's anybody that has a console that can play Call of Duty.
The thing here is that it's like this. If I can never watch and enjoy I can never play and enjoy the game objectively because I go back to Modern Warfare 2 from 2009. That was a phenomenal game. That was an incredible game. And so I'm playing a new one, and it just pales in comparison.
Mind you, you know what was phenomenal about the original Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, was that the game had everything. It had the single player aspect, which was phenomenal, well written, well executed. The multiplayer was balanced to a point where it was enjoyable. Although Modern Warfare 2 maybe elevated it with the extra kill streaks and all this stuff.
I just never understood why they would launch call it Warzone 2 with Modern Warfare 2, the same game with the game, and so you're downloading it and it's like it completely shut down. You couldn't log in to play the game. The servers were broken. The servers were crashed.
If I recall with Warzone, the reason why they went to Warzone 2 was because I don't recall what patch number it was. Infinity Ward themselves scrapped Warzone entirely, so they had to rebuild it from scratch, and voila, Warzone 2. Even though it's the same crap.
It should have been released as a separate game.
It should have been.
Like you shouldn't need to having to download all that, and that's why the gigabytes is like 200 gigabytes.
I deleted it
too, so I could download like 3 video games.
I did as well. I have. What did I download? I downloaded Rocket League. I downloaded Rainbow Six Extraction. I downloaded what was that other game?
I tried playing.
I think it was streaming some PS3 games, and it's infuriating that I have to stream them. I'd rather buy them at this point. I'm trying to find them though. They're hard to find. I gotta stop by some old school video game shops to find cases.
Back to our original point about Microsoft trying to get their house in order. It's like people can say what they want about Sony, but Sony released all of their console exclusives on time in the last 3 years.
Oh, with
and their sales were ridiculous. and PlayStation 5 sales have been incredible. So while Microsoft is trying to be pro-consumer and pro-gamer now, they talk the talk, but their house is just
listen,
crazy.
it's like this. It's like going to your
House is just in chaos.
friend's house or your significant other's house, and that house is, oh dear Lord, Hurricane Katrina passed by here because this was not on the map.
Yeah,
Shit. But anyways,
it's a mess.
Microsoft needs to get their house in order. They need to fix the bed. They need a sweep. They need a mop. They need a vacuum. They need to do all the crap that you do at home to maintain a nice environment at home. That's what they need to do. Because Sony, yes, they would be anti-consumer, stingy, greedy, fucked up right now because of Jim. What is it? Jim crying. It's Jim flying, crying, Saving Private Ryan. Is whining like a little baby, throwing his own studios.
And you know, Microsoft has said this is going to be a long time before they make another big acquisition like this because they were not expecting so much pushback because of one IP. It was just Call of Duty. They got all this pushback because of one Call of Duty. And here's the thing: Sony was taking advantage of the FTC and a lot of people not playing video games because the arguments that Sony were making were the same things that Sony was doing. It's that if Microsoft gets full control of Call of Duty, they're only going to do things and make things available to people that are only on Xbox, not for Sony. And it's like Sony, you're doing the same thing. You can only get certain things if you play Call of Duty on the PlayStation 5.
Indeed. Now, because you said that it does take you to a more political aspect. It's but I want to avoid politics as much as possible because
it's like you're doing the same thing. It's the same thing. You're doing the same thing, and
look, they're gonna do this, but we're doing it over here.
And not only that, Microsoft was giving them the best deal, but when this thing goes through, which it is probably this summer, that deal now Microsoft is going to be like, well, screw you guys. We don't have to give you that deal that we're giving to everybody else because you chose to make this a big thing. And Microsoft wanted to play nice for like a whole year. They were trying to play nice. And then they called their senators and told them to start investigating on Sony. And now they're being investigated.
Oh, mind you.
For their anti-consumer practices in Japan. You know, Microsoft can't do shit in Japan because Sony controls 95% of the gaming market in Japan. And the Japanese are buying the Series X like it's no tomorrow. Microsoft could never sell in Japan.
I do want to say this. Sony may have market dominance for the high-end console, whatever the frick that means, because my DVR is a high-end thing too. But right. the true king that reigns supreme in Japan, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our next category here.
What's going on with Nintendo?
What's going on with Nintendo? But Japan, the JFTC, the Japanese Fair Trade Commission, is investigating Sony not because of the
Microsoft pushed them to do it.
Not only because of the complaints from the American senators. No.
Microsoft pushed them into doing it, though.
They pushed them into doing it.
Nintendo was taking advantage of the opportunity.
Well, yes. Because understand this. When you have one person on top and there's like three people on the bottom, they're going to fight for that seat you have. Yeah. Now, the problem that also comes down to this is that, yes, Microsoft told the senators that are, you know, and their senators, their people, to look into it. The thing, though, is Japan is investigating because of American trade and that whole thing that's going on with the trading. That's really it.
Yeah.
Now,
but I never thought I'd see the day where Nintendo and Microsoft are going to see eye to eye on things. We'll see where that goes.
Well, I never thought that was going to happen either. After
something.
Nintendo laughed them out.
Yeah. It's crazy how Microsoft, the $2 trillion company, is seen as the underdogs here. Like, how do you put yourself in that position?
You know what's ironic is that if once the deal goes through, not if, but once the deal goes through
this summer, everybody's giving it the okay.
Yeah, Microsoft gets to say, listen, we have X amount of people on all our platforms. Now, that does not necessarily mean Xbox Series X or Xbox Series S. That means Xbox Series S, Xbox One, Xbox One X, whatever, all the Xboxes. Your mobile phone, your PC, your iPad, your tablets, all of that. And at that point, if you're not going to take Microsoft's offer, you are in a serious. I'm not even smoking that club. But let's go to our actual subject, Star Wars. What is going on with Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen? We are here right now to discuss the main topic, Star Wars. What is going on with Star Wars? Well, they announced the Ahsoka TV series,
which looks amazing. Looks incredible.
Now, I want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, or actually, I want to tell you first off, because I can't remind you. It's my first video. You ladies and gentlemen, are aware who Ryan J is.
It's my
Ryan J
whatever video. How many videos?
He makes videos, and aside from his videos, he is a critic, a photographer, whatever the film thing crap is.
Film, cinema,
He's a
books.
Yeah. All right. So,
Books, comic books.
to put it in the correct perspective, he is a cinephile. Now, cinephile does not mean anything bad. It means somebody who loves movies.
Right.
Now, if you want somebody to give you an honest to God rating, an honest rating to your soul to go up to the, oh my God, this is great, or this is terrible, this is the man you would want to have tell you what he thinks of a movie. Now, he may have his own political beliefs, but that does not conflate with his rating style.
Yeah, I mean, I myself are liberal and secular, but I do love The Passion of the Christ. I think it's a great movie. You would think with my position I should hate that movie, but I do not. I think it's a fantastic movie. I loved it when I was a Christian, and I love it now as a secular. I still love it. I always love that movie.
Okay, so
I'm a big-time fan of Mel Gibson as a director, but that's the thing. A lot of people are not able to separate the art from the artist. Just because you might not like the person doesn't mean you have to hate what he makes, because sometimes what they make is great. So
I want to bring in guys. It's not to bring in politics. Now, he has his own views on things, and I have my own views on things. I like to challenge everything because who doesn't like pushing against the
grain,
against the grain.
Well,
right?
we're talking.
Who doesn't like to push the can of soda to see if?
Well, let's talk about Star Wars television. So, Star Wars: The Mandalorian finally got great this week because Dave Filoni co-wrote the script with Jon Favreau, and it was a great episode. Episode 7 was great, but it just like it's like a whiplash. Episode 6 with Lizzo and Jack Black was terrible. And Lizzo's a terrible actress. I like her as an artist, a musician. She's fine. But Jack Black is always good in everything. But the problem is that he was so distracting in the episode. And it felt like a really bad filler episode from Clone Wars. But live action, so it feels worse.
Watching the episode, what I thought was...
What happened?
This is not going to be anything important.
Yeah.
This is an episode you could literally skip. Nothing important happens.
No,
you miss nothing.
You didn't. That's the thing. The episode could have been 10 minutes long. You know what the 10 minutes would have been? Bo-Katan beating the shit out of the Mandalorian guy, and beating the crap out of the Mandalorian guy, and taking the Mandalorian army or paramilitary group and taking all those ships. That could have been the whole episode. You didn't need all this Lizzo stuff or whatever else, but. I mean, it was just such a disappointing episode. But episode 7 was great. And here's the thing. I feel like season 3 of Mandalorian is suffering because, one, the story was over. Grogu was supposed to go with Luke Skywalker. But Disney was like, oh, we're selling a lot of Grogus, so we need him to come back. And so they were forced to do that. And then Dave Filoni was putting all of his focus in the Ahsoka series, which I don't blame him. That's his baby. That's what he created.
That's his child.
That's his child. And all those characters from Star Wars Rebels are his kids. So, of course, he's going to focus all on that and partly focus on The Mandalorian. But you could see how season 3 faltered without him being completely focused because Jon Favreau, I don't know what he was doing.
Listen,
it was just...
When you have a great mind, always have another great mind beside him to tell him,
Yeah.
no.
Jon Favreau is hit or miss. He's made some good movies, but he did make Cowboys and Aliens. And that is easily the worst movie of 2011. By far. I mean,
remember, this is a reminder.
I still remember it for being
do not put your faith, your trust, and your belief that one man will change and make a great change. No.
2 more minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Dave Filoni, I have high hopes for the Ahsoka series, considering the fact that they're gonna bring onto the cinematic realm of Star Wars.
And we're bringing in Dark Jedis who are different from the Sith.
Mind you, Dark Jedi are brought up in the expanded universe, but Disney wants
and they're being brought in by Dave Filoni. I mean, come on.
And
it's just...
Here's a fun fact for everyone.
I'm looking forward to the Rey movie, even though a lot of people are polarized on it. There's a lot of potential with Rey. She has so much potential, and James Mangold's doing
Supposedly she's gonna have a child that is gonna be her being written off as a mother towards the child.
I don't know what they're gonna do. We'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see. But I do love that we are getting the James Mangold Star Wars origin story movie. I'm looking forward to that. That sounds great. What's the other movie that was announced? The Dave Filoni movie.
Acolyte.
The Acolyte. No, that's a series. That looks okay. That looks good. I saw a little bit of the teaser, but it was leaked. But Dave Filoni doing the movie where everybody is doing this cross Avengers-like thing, that could work with him, but we'll see. So
who knows, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Star Wars fans, compadres, Dave Filoni might do the Thanos. You never know. Now,
bring in the multiverse, please.
I mean, he technically did with Rebels in the mirror
Right,
thing.
I know.
So technically, anything that Disney says is not canon is canon. Anything Disney says is canon is also not canon.
Well, that's the
That's
that's the multiverse, but it's like it was mentioned in animation, and if it's brought into the live action, then we could do multiple sequel trilogies.
Technically,
we could do multiple sequel trilogies at this point. You could recast Han, Luke, and Leia, and adapt Vector Prime, and adapt all those books 25 years after Return of the Jedi.
Listen, I would love to see Heir to the Empire completely flushed out the way it was written, not with Ahsoka being the main.
I would love for Sebastian Stan to play a young Luke Skywalker with a young Han, Luke, and Leia, young Mara Jade, and just adapt Heir to the Empire, but like from the book.
The problem with
and it's a different universe, so they can do it.
No.
They'll call it the Legends universe.
Disney, for the love of God, please listen to us, Disney. We are fans. We know what we're talking about.
I could totally help them shepherd this too. I could totally help them.
You need someone to make the
Yeah, I could totally convince them to do this. I'm like, you want to make money on this franchise for another 30 years? Just do it.
Get rid of the woke crap first off. The first thing you need to do, get rid of the woke crap, and then focus on writing.
That's never going away. That's never going away.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna point this out right now.
They just need to have good writers to make it work. If you have bad writers, then it's just never going to work.
I'm gonna say this right now. Anything and everything that is going on with Disney financially, losing money, and the shit that's going on politically, publicly, is far more entertaining than anything they have put out in.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. But I think
television.
I think
it's the best thing ever.
I think Bob Iger's strategy was correct. They put out way too much content too soon because they were so focused on Disney Plus. But ironically, and I got 10% left on my phone before it crashes, so this is the last thing I'm going to say. Ironically, Avatar 2 basically killed the focus on Disney Plus because Avatar 2 was a huge box office hit that made $2.3 billion. And so now Bob Iger is like, let's go back to movies. Let's start making real money because we're not making money on Disney Plus. We lost $1.5 billion.
He already confessed that it's not a money maker. It's
they lost.
A money loser.
Yeah, they lost $1.5 billion. So it's time to go back to the movie theaters. People are going back to the theaters. This March of 2023 was the best box office in 4 years.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and it's going to get better.
I am not a financial advisor, nor analyst, nor am I anywhere a stock investor or stockbroker.
And even
Disney, from the way things are going, invest in AMC.
And even Disney at its worst is still bringing in more money at the box office than DC at their best. So I mean, I love the Batman. It was a fantastic movie. It was better than all the MCU movies. Still made less than the MCU movies. So that's the thing. Even DC at the pinnacle of quality cannot surpass the MCU. So all Disney has to do is just get their shit together, and you're going to be making $1 billion a movie before you know. They'll just be pumping out what they used to pump out.
You know, the problem, the biggest problem that DC has is that nothing is in order when it comes to the DC universe.
It's just too much content.
It's too much. It's all over the place. You had Black Adam, you had The Rock. Okay, there was something happened. They got rid of.
You saw that video with the Critical Drinker, where he saw the guy he was streaming with was showing all the content released from the MCU and Star Wars, and it was like he was broken. he just fell apart. He was just shocked. And Bob Iger's trying to stop that by delaying a lot of projects into 2024 and 2025.
Oh, mind you, this is
2025.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the greatest part. If Kathleen Kennedy cannot get another Star Wars film out by next year or
2025?
By 2025, she's fired. Will she get another movie out? Yes, it'll probably be.
I hope she's gone after this summer, but we'll see. But anyways, I'm done. That
woman has destroyed not only Star Wars, Indiana Jones. Now,
we'll see. Well, those leaks, I don't believe. They're so ridiculous. I don't even believe those leaks. But if it turns out to be true, it's crazy.
I'm not saying they're true, and I'm not saying you need to believe Dunkak. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if in the case it's true, what's going on with Indiana Jones is just bad, and that she's been told no Indiana Jones, just Star Wars, get Star Wars working order.
Yeah, and it's written and directed by James Mangold, and he's done a good job. He's done good work He's done some movies that are not great, but he's done good work for the most part. Every movie he's done is at least decent. Even the Wolverine was okay. He was just having a villain that's been out of print since 1989.
Meanwhile,
that was the most useless movie I've ever watched in my life. That whole movie was pointless. This villain was gone. Like, no one cares. Like, comic book stores had the fine prints of that story to put him back in comic book stores to promote the movie. because that villain was out of print since 1989. It was ridiculous.
Mind you. All right.
Stupid.
So I'm gonna say one more. I'm gonna say maybe 3 more things, and then we're gonna end it there.
Yeah, we got to, because my phone is gonna die.
This phone's gonna die, and also I'm running out of ideas because there are people that are kind of hovering over there.
Yeah, people need to come in. People
yeah.
need to eat. So let's just finish off. What's your closing statement? Go ahead, close it.
So what I'm gonna say is this. With the way things are going on, the rumors about Disney, the rumors about Sony, and the rumors that are also floating around regarding Ubisoft, which I'm hoping that they decide to oust Ivas Guillemot, whatever his name is.
It's a family-owned company. It's never going to happen.
They need a...
His family is on the board. It's never going to happen. Go ahead.
Well, he needs to step down as leader because he's doing a terrible job.
He's never going to step down, bro. He's never going to step down.
Well, one can only hope.
And then who's going to replace him? His mother, his sister, his son, his brother?
I'm sure his son...
They all have the same mentality.
I'm sure his son would have at least more understanding of video games than he does.
No.
But anyways, my closing statement
I have no hope.
would be, I want to thank you all for joining us in this nice political, not political, this nice, enjoyable, nerdistic...
And we'll do something next week, hopefully.
Yes. Hopefully.
Continue on talking about Indiana Jones. But yes.
Talking about Indiana Jones, I have nothing more to say about Indiana
great.
Jones. All I will say is this. If they do not get the shit in order with Star Wars, they're gonna lose more money. And on top of that, what's going on right now with Bud Light is funny.
And you got
That's all I'm gonna say.
And you got a lot of young girls, young women that are huge fans of Rey and love Rey Skywalker / Palpatine.
Well, no.
Rey
Rey is not a Skywalker. Rey's a Palpatine.
Rey's
Do not conflate her
no,
name with Skywalker.
no. She's a Skywalker. She'll call her herself. Because I got what she was doing. It was more of a symbolic thing to carry on their legacy. But, there's enough mystery with her mother to where they could retcon that too. Oh, your mom was created by the Force. And she was a clone, or she was a clone of Luke Skywalker. Wait, what? See, that's what I like about Rey. There's enough potential there. But I will say this. There's a lot of fans that love Rey. If they don't get this movie off the ground and out, that's going to kill that fan base. Did you see how packed it was in Europe? We'll talk about that next week. But it was there were so many women dressed up as Rey. There was this little girl crying, hugging Daisy Ridley. And Daisy Ridley is a real ambassador for the franchise. She's a sweetheart, and they got to get that movie made.
So we'll go into more nerd stuff. We'll probably touch one political thing, maybe. We'll talk about a TV show. We'll talk about the fact that the Emmys suck and he loves them. We'll talk about the fact that burgers are not burgers until you put lettuce, tomato, onion, and ketchup.
Well, the Emmys was not that bad last year. So
meanwhile, the Game Awards has scored way more than the Emmys.
No. The Game Awards is always better than all the award ceremonies that are on network TV because the Game Awards take themselves seriously, but not too seriously. They show a lot of love to the product that they're making, love to the gamer, love to the developers, and everybody watches. Because everybody is enjoying something that's getting so much love and support from a guy, Jeff Neely, who just killed E3. He soloed E3, like in Souls. He didn't need the spirit summon. He just killed E3 by himself. He did not need to summon a player. He did not need to summon a spirit summon. He soloed E3 on his own.
I want to know one thing.
Destroyed it by itself.
What was his build? That's all I want to know. and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go...
It was Doritos! Okay.
Doritos and Mountain Dew.
Doritos and Mountain Dew. That's what he used. Anyways,
we're going to
we gotta go.
We got to go.
Y'all have a good night.
I hope you all have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in. And
this is Brian J's Nerd Talk. Sign on later.
Signing out.